Okay, and we are live, George.
Cool. Evening, everyone. Hope we're doing all right on this Thursday. Coming to you on a different day because some of us are in Liverpool from tomorrow for the last game of the season. So we thought, why not do it on a Thursday? Let's get chatting about yesterday's game and then obviously the last game of the season. Just going to introduce you to my guest. So as you heard, his voice first. Paul, how you doing, mate?
Yep, just about survived the day at work after 3 hours sleep and a lot of coffee this morning.
Nice. Sounds like a hard day. Um, and then we have Amanda. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, thanks. So probably
Yeah.
the same as Paul. I could do without a few less of those midweek games next year. To be fair, evening.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I'd like our fixture times to be a lot nicer to us next season, but not holding
yeah.
much hope. And then also we've got Ravi. How you doing, mate? Good to have you back.
Yeah, all good, all good. I mean, by comparison, it feels like I've had a really good night's sleep. so yeah. But yeah, good to be back on. And can't wait to chat about the game.
Yeah. It was an interesting one. Some good talking points, I think. Obviously we will have Anthony joining us as well. But yeah, he'll be here when he's here. Do we have any comments, Paul, before I
Yep, BX Gunner says Stina Cluchstenius is brilliant.
Yeah, cool. Hi BX Gunner, hope you're good.
Catherine says hello, as does Dorian.
Hey,
And
Dorian.
Catherine also says that coffee is liquid gold.
Yes, one word for it. It weren't what I was thinking, but I can't stand the smell of coffee, so I'm probably in the minority here. I know Dorian loves a coffee. When we've been on some away trips, he's got to have his coffee.
Oh yes, got to be
done. Cool. We'll start obviously on yesterday's game. As I don't know, it might you guys may have missed it. A few players are leaving at the end of the season. So obviously, Ravi, I'll start with you. We saw the lineup, and funnily enough, the three players that are leaving in the summer all started. I was calling it the goodbye 11 yesterday. Because it had a bit of a vibe around it. Obviously, we saw Kadina playing Palova and Beth. What was your thoughts going into the game? Obviously, because there was still a lot riding on it, wasn't it? Because we obviously still before that we needed 4 points to secure automatic Champions League.
Ravi's disappeared, George.
Okay, that's just good timing. Welcome to live shows, and yeah, that's why we're not winning awards yet. That's fine. Amanda, I'll come to you asking you the exact same question. Please answer me.
Yeah, okay, I will.
Right.
Yeah, there was a bit of a funny vibe yesterday. I thought it was a weird atmosphere, I thought. But yeah, obviously the three main levers in the starting lineup was no massive surprise, I didn't think. What did surprise me was I saw a couple of turns of pace out of Kadina that I don't think we've seen all season. And Beth, would have been nice for her to get a goal. She was trying her hardest. I think she hit the bar a couple of times. But it was an important game. We got the 3 points, so I think we only need to get one at the weekend, and that guarantees us second place, which is the best we could have hoped for in the end. But it definitely had some weird vibes, and the end bit was long.
Just want to say hi to Gav. Hope you're right, mate. I see Sam Kerr's leaving. What do you think about that? I'm not surprised, but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that Paul, just like Amanda said, it was a bit of a weird vibe. Obviously, we knew there was players there. Even Naomi Williams was there with Gunnosaurus, wasn't she, at one point? But kind of going into the game, it was still important that we needed to get the win. But also, obviously, as the game went on, we know what Everton can do, don't we? Like, they kind of done that against Chelsea, and I think the difference is we kind of was clinical at the right time, even though it was right at the end. But what's your thoughts on the game on the whole, and especially obviously with the players that were leaving in the summer?
Yeah, it had a really sort of weird vibe to it in the build up and everything about it. I mean, a lot of the first half it seemed to be try and get the ball to Beth and let her get a goal on her final appearance. Just seemed everyone was just trying to pass it to her and she was just trying to shoot, and yeah, nothing was working for her. But they did what they needed to do again. And we know, like you say, we know what Everton can do. They can sit back. They do have a good defence, and then they just turn it on at the flick of a switch, and they'll have 2 or 3 minutes of really good possession and sneak the odd goal.
Yeah.
But we were really solid at the back, and when they did try and flick that switch, we just didn't give them any space to move anywhere. We were just all over them straight away. So that's that is something that we need to take into next season. And teams that do that to us, we just need to be a lot more clinical right from the first whistle of the first game next season. And that could make all the difference between first and second.
Yeah, no, I agree. Do we have a Ravi back?
I do. I am back.
Right, cool. I can't remember what the question was I asked now, so luckily I asked Amanda. Obviously, we were just chatting about yesterday's game, and I said that it had a bit of a weird vibe about it. Like the players that obviously were leaving got a good few minutes, but obviously I want to talk about Palova. Obviously, we know she's leaving, but what was your thoughts on her yesterday? 'Cause I thought we saw like a shadow of what she could do before her ACL, like when she was taking on the winger and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, she's been one of my favorite players since she joined. Actually, like I love that style of player, and I think since she's come back from injury, it's been one of those things where she feels like she's playing within herself a little bit, like she's scared of getting hurt again, like scared that the contact might just like trigger a setback or another injury or anything like that. I think this is the first time since she has come back where she's played with a lot of freedom, and I think that's trying to just trying to put on a good performance for her last game. And like this, as you said, like this is the best we've seen her since she's come back from injury. And I just think there's flashes of the player that we were seeing before the injury, but I don't think you can wait for her to come back and come back to the player that she was. Especially if we're going to be challenging for Champions League and the league again next season. I think we need to go in with players who will give that 100% again, like have that confidence to play with unlimited freedom. And I don't think that's her at the moment. Maybe there's a route in a couple of years for her to come back when she is like playing every minute of every game somewhere and rediscovers her form, but currently I don't see it.
Yeah, because the way I was looking at Ravi yesterday is, they're the sort of games that if you edge that victory, that's what people who win WSLs do. Because I don't think we're in the wrong place as a fan base to be saying like next season is our challenge is to win that WSL, is it?
Yeah.
To be honest, like if you look, say we beat Liverpool, we're a couple of dodgy results away from potentially of one being a serious contender for the league. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But them sort of games are the ones that frustrated them most, aren't they? Because like obviously before the Stina goal, Ravi, it was let's not bull crap it. It was quite a frustrating game.
Yeah, and it's one of those where we've seen plenty this season where teams do park all 10 players behind the ball and just say, put crosses in, we'll head them away. You don't have an aerial threat up front. And the one that you do in Russo, we'll put 2 players on her and we'll get to the ball first. Like, I just think we're easy to defend against at times, especially when like people just sit back. And I think there's a template that we've seen teams use against us. Like United have done it pretty much every time they've come to the Emirates. Like they will park all of their players behind the ball, frustrate us in a way which pushes us to rush. And that's where we've drawn 6 games this season in the league. Only lost the 1 game, and it is frustrating because once we do score, you see the floodgates open like a couple of weeks ago when we scored 7 against Leicester. But here we couldn't break the door down up until the very, very end. And if you're going to be a serious contender, you can't score late winners routinely. It has to be, you've got to put down a marker pretty early on and just say, okay, if you want to put 11 players behind the ball, fine, but we'll still score. I just don't think we have enough tools in our attacking options to break down really deep defenses.
Yeah, that was kind of my worry, because I think if you look at that game yesterday, it was pretty similar to whenever we play Man United, because that's what they do. Like they don't. Let's be honest, they don't play attacking football. Not against us. Like they look at them fixtures and say, "Oh yeah, there's 2 draws, we can get there."
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference next season. For me, that's the players I would be looking at. So we know who, like, what all the sources are saying, who we're meant to be signing on a free. We love a free, guys. We love, but we're going to start entering free giveaways soon, Arsenal, I reckon, like with players. But I think they're the sort of players that can unlock something. And if you believe the rumours, I think Georgia Stanway is quite pivotal to that, if we manage to sign her. But coming to you, Amanda, obviously we did get the goal, so we love a bit of controversy on here, don't we? So we did get the goal. What was your opinion on the goal? Should it have been a goal? Was it a foul on Courtney Brosnan? Was Lotta offside? What are you thinking?
Question mark, Lotta was offside. I don't think so. I thought it more looked like a foul on Leah, because I thought the keeper took Leah out. And furthermore, I've watched the first goal back that was disallowed today on the telly, and I don't think she was quite offside. So we should have had an early one anyway. But anyway, so no, I think it was right to allow that goal. We deserved it anyway. Liv should have had a goal come off the corner of the frame, didn't it, in like the second half as well. So we had an attacking threat. It was just that we just couldn't quite put it away. So it's hopeful for the future, but no, I think we deserved the win overall anyway.
Yeah. Paul, obviously same sort of question. What was your views on the Stina winner? Was it, do you think, because I've seen some people complaining, saying, "Oh, it was a foul" and stuff like that. What do you think about
that? Personally, I don't think it was a foul. I think if we'd have had VAR,
don't say that word.
If we had it could have gone either way. It was very a matter of opinion, I think, with it. But I think, echoing what's been said, we definitely deserved to get the win yesterday. We were by far the better team. We hit the crossbar, we hit the post so many times that one of them was going to go in. But one of the things that I was thinking during the game was our bench was extremely strong yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, I know that's because we had some of our squad players, shall we call them, starting. But that's the sort of bench I'd love to see week in, week out, but with a stronger starting lineup as well, because you had potential game changers on that bench that could come off it and change things up. And that wasn't just in one or two positions. You know, you got Leah Williamson, Taylor Hines, Kim Little, Chloe Kelly, all of those. Stina obviously did get the goal in the end, but those sorts of players on the bench would be fantastic. And we've said it so many times that we've got a good starting lineup. We just haven't got the depth to have those game changers on the bench.
No. Ravi, coming to you about the goal. It's not like Arsenal to be embroiled in confrontational after a foul on a goalkeeper this week, is it?
It's pretty on brand, you know. The one club mentality is really flowing through.
They're taking it too literal for me now. I'll tell you my views. I didn't think it was a foul. I
didn't either.
I thought she was just out muscled. The lot of offside. Yeah. Depends what way you look at it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But generally, do you think that's a fair reflection on it? Because football's a physical sport. So what are you just going to do? Not go near a player when you're trying to score? I don't get where it is with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think refereeing as a whole, and you know, we can talk about the way people, especially in the women's game, referee. But I like you. I think contact needs to be in the game. Like, it is a physical sport. It's not it's not a no contact sport or anything like that. Like, it is a physical game, and you do need to have that sort of like challenge in there. Obviously, there is like a degree of safety involved with, you know, in case someone gets punched in the head or anything like that. But we've seen it time and time again where, like, if someone does get punched in the head by a goalkeeper, they are like, it is going to be a penalty.
Yeah.
So you know, like, there needs to be some common sense in there. And like, I just think the way that football is going in terms of the refereeing of like both men's and women's football, I just think you can't re-referee decisions just because of minor contact. And it's like, if we keep doing that, it's going to turn into a no contact sport, and then you know, the enjoyment's going to go, and we just can't really have that.
Yeah. No, I agree. But so the Arsenal women chat show after review. No, they're the famous words. But no, so I didn't think it was a foul. And I think, like Dorian said, from that camera angle, you can't really tell if it's on or off. I don't want VAR in the women's game. I don't, even though it worked for, everyone keeps telling me it worked last Sunday for the men. It didn't work. It was the right decision. So,
well, yeah, but I think it's a sort of like, you know, the goal was given because the referee and the linesman like missed the incident. Like, so it is a correct decision, but I just think it, like, for me, it's always been the application of it, and I think it should go to a challenge-based system as opposed to just refereeing every single call. But you know, I think there's some room in the women's game, because I think they've trialed some like new stuff in like the Canadian Women's League and stuff like that, and it's just like, you know, do what you want to do. But I just think it's one of those things where, like, if VAR does come into the women's game, I think it needs to be used responsibly and not the way that it's used across that. Not the way that it's used across men's football.
No.
Even though we did get to the correct decision for the men on Sunday.
Yeah, I just think it exposes the officials as well, like how not great they are. And it shouldn't take 8-9 minutes for decisions when it does. That's the thing that I struggle with. But like Dorian said, Leah run across Brosnan. She punches the ball, bangs into the player. So, like, if imagine how many penalties you'd have to give if that was the case.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're setting yourself up a new president, and it's just not going to work. Amanda, coming. Obviously, we got the win, but obviously we'll chat about because it'd be disrespectful not to. Obviously, it was Beth Mead's last home game. I think she got a good reception, didn't she? And she had chances to score, but sometimes you just have to give players their flowers, and then it's not always. I think we probably, as football fans, we look at it as from footballing reasons, but we don't know if there's not any other personal reasons. So I think we just have to respect what Beth has done for the club, don't we?
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, she's a legend.
Yeah.
And I think she got a really good see off last night, as did everyone else. All of the leavers, were there at the end, and I think it's really nice. And I don't think a lot of other clubs would go to as much effort as what we did last night. So it was really nice. But like you say, you don't know what's going on in her personal life, and speculation is that she wants to move back north to be closer to Viv, and that makes absolute sense. I understand that Viv's mum's not very well, so football is a small part of who these people are. It's not their whole, it's not their whole life, and I guess we just got to respect that. She obviously felt that that's what she wants to do, and fair enough. She's done a great job for us, So I say good luck. Just hopefully not when she's playing against us next season. Perhaps she could just be rested that game or something.
Yeah, she don't exist to me when she plays against us, so it's fine. But no, I think some people know my views on it, but I think all in all, you just have to give players their flowers and respect what they've done for our club. And it's not just probably our club. If you look at it, it's probably women's football on a whole. The amount of young girls that have got into women's football or playing football because of people like Beth Mead is something that probably needs to be remembered as well. And all I say is, you guys get upset, that's fine, but don't be hypocritical, because some of you wanted to sell her last year. So, just give her what she deserves, and hopefully, she don't score against us next season, but enjoys the rest of her career. Paul, coming to you. Obviously, there was other players there that were leaving. I was a bit worried when Gunnosaurus and Lotta would do it. All that, I thought, Gunner, we've got enough injuries. Chill out, mate. Chill out. We might have had to have Naomi Williams at centre half then. But what? Obviously, talking to you about Naomi Williams, because not many people spoke about her. We were chatting about it in the pub, which I thought was a really good point to mention on here. She never got a chance really, and when you have a goalkeeper at that age, it is so hard to break into that first team squad, isn't it? Because obviously you've got Daphne, you've got Borba, you've got either Manu or I'm not going to try and say the goalkeeper we got on loan from Slavia Prague's name, because I'll probably absolutely murder that. But from a Naomi Williams and that age point of view, what's your views on that? Because it is so hard to find a pathway into playing regular, isn't it, for a team like Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, the goalkeeper is probably the worst position to be a young player coming through, because there are so few opportunities that when you look at the top level, and I'll probably say sort of the top 2 or 3 tiers of women's football, you get your number one goalkeeper, and then that's it. She's there almost week in, week out, with possible exception of the odd cup game. But when you've got 2 top quality keepers like we have, and then you've got a young academy goalkeeper trying to break through, it is so difficult especially in the top 2 or 3 teams in the WSL. And I think the writing that was on the wall for Naomi when they brought that low knee goalkeeper in December, when obviously Daphne had picked up that injury and Borba's leg was all strapped up as well for a couple of games.
Yeah,
that Renee didn't really want to play Naomi. So I could see the writing on the wall for her leaving this summer. But yeah, like I say, the goalkeeper with outfield players, if you bring in a young midfielder, say someone like Maddie Earl that comes in, she's got players around her that if she does make that little slip or something, there's enough of them around her to be able to correct the error. But when you're a goalkeeper, all eyes are on you. Okay, you are the last form of defence, and the 10 players in front of you should have done something to try and stop the attacker getting to you. But as a young girl, 17, 18, in goal in one of the top teams in Europe, and you make a howling mistake, that could be the end of your career before it's even started.
Yeah.
So, I'd love to see Naomi just drop down a couple of leagues, either WSL2 or even National League, and get a couple of seasons under her belt playing week in, week out football. And then, I did go and watch her play at Bristol City when she was on loan earlier this season against Tottenham. And they only lost 1-0, and she made a couple of really good saves that kept them in the game.
Yeah.
And she's definitely got the potential to be a decent goalkeeper. But she's got to be playing week in, week out. And it is so difficult for them to do. And, any goalkeeper at Arsenal, I don't think is going to have that opportunity at that age.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ravi, obviously carrying on that.
Anthony has entered.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
Cool. I'll come to you afterwards, Anthony. Ravi, obviously carrying on this chat with about the goalkeepers and the pathway. It's probably like what Dorian's just said. It's they have to play the whole game. So why you're seeing people like Katie Reid at that, because they're at similar ages, let's remember that. It's a big difference, isn't there? It feels like there's more pathway for the outfield players than the goalkeeper. So does that worry you a little, or not worry you, but concern you when it comes to people like Lydiard? Because, like, if you, I don't see why we couldn't have him as a third choice. And if you have two goalkeepers injured, you're just very unlucky. I don't know how you're meant to make how are they meant to make a pathway as a teenager? I don't. As a goalkeeper at a top club, I don't see how they are.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, like third choice goalkeeper at a big club is like the world's greatest job. Like, is it
Scott Carson?
Give me the Scott Carson job. Like where they do the little like lab experiments on like them like all season to see how like goalkeeper training can like change. But it's one of them where it's like. And Reese just said it there. It's same thing as me. Like, I just think when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it results in a goal. They are under the microscope so much. Like, if a centre back makes a mistake, a goalkeeper could bail them out of it. If a left back makes a mistake, you got a centre back and a goalkeeper. So the further forward you go, the more players that are behind you that can cover you if you make a mistake. And I think goalkeepers are very difficult to trust when it's a young goalkeeper. And what I always think back to is and this is going to like men's football deep cut here. In like 2012, Rio Ave in Portugal had Jan Oblak and Ederson as their second and third choice goalkeepers, both of which would become arguably the world's best goalkeeper at some point in their career. And they were just like second and third choice as like 18, 19-year-olds. Like, they, even at that level in Portugal, they weren't getting opportunities. And it's the same thing as what Naomi Williams has got here. Like, she's got two very good goalkeepers ahead of her. And is it crazy to say Daphne is probably the best goalkeeper in the league? Probably. Like, she's
in the top two.
She's in the top two, and she's not number two.
Yeah.
No. and it's just one of them things where it's just like, if you're someone like Naomi Williams, you really just have to look at it and be like, all right, I'm not getting ahead of number one just yet. I'm not getting ahead of number two. And by the time that they're going to be aged out, or in a position where I can challenge it, I'll be midway through I'll be their age now and having played no minutes. So it makes total sense for her to like look at a probably WSL2 team and just like try and build a career from there. What I would say is if she can pick up a role as first choice immediately at a decent level club, that would be better than if she joined, say, a struggling WSL2 team who get battered weekly, and she's shipping in 3, 4, 5 goals. Maybe half of them at least are not her fault. But if she's at a relatively stable top upper mid-table club there, she can probably show off what she can do, get a move to a WSL team, and then from there, a few years down the line, the injuries to Borba and Van Domselaar might become a bit too much, and we need a bit more of a stable number one. She'll probably end up wanting to come back.
Yeah, so I think that's what I think me and Dorian were saying that's kind of what these players probably are going to have to do: leave and then come back. Like,
Yeah.
Like you think if say Lydiard, I think she's 17.
Yeah.
So you think 6 years down the line she'll only be 23.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I am really good at maths, so that's how far it extends. But so in 6 years' time, we don't know what the injury record of Van Domselaar and Borb is going to be. So yeah, I just want to interject. The only time I remember it being a drastic thing and we got away with it was when the men played Bolton. Do you remember when Jack Porter had to go and goal? Because
the little 16-year-old,
yeah, I think they just got him from like the local secondary school. That's it. Yeah, come on, in you go. But yeah, so Anthony, how you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm fine, thanks. Good evening, everyone. Apologies for the tardy entry.
No problem. Fashionably late, we call that. Just obviously, we've been speaking about the game on Wednesday. We spoke about a couple of players that are left. I'll talk to you about obviously Laia Cadena. Obviously, she's leaving at the end of the summer, which I think we all probably expected. But what's your views on Cadena? I think she could still do a decent job for someone like one of the mid-table teams in the WSL if she was to stay over here. Do you think the same?
Yes, I think she can. She's a good ball player. The thing is, she played for Barca, so she didn't have to do much defending playing for them. And the role that she has really requires someone that loves defending, a Gabrielle Saliba, if you like. And Laia doesn't fit that mold. But as you say, she could do a good job for another team.
Yeah, I think with Cadena, I think we all know what the issue is when she has played. Is the pace is issue, isn't it? Anthony is and I think that's where she gets punished so much, and that's where she can't probably play regularly for a team who wants to win the WSL or go further. And like you said at Barca, she ain't sure when you've got those attack-minded players in front of you, you ain't really got to do much of it. So.
Exactly. No. The other thing is, the two chances Chelsea had very early on in the game against us in the Champions League, they came from her being outpaced by their defenders. I mean, by their wingers. So again, we need someone that's going to be able to match them for pace. Someone that's athletic. We were really spoilt with Gabriele. Raffaelli, not Gabriele.
Yeah, that would be a good play. I wouldn't mind Gabriele.
Yeah, a hybrid of Raffaele and Gabriele. Yeah.
It's the centre half we've all been crying out for.
Sure, absolutely. But I wish her well. I wish her well. I wish Vic Pelova well as well. I won't feel bad if they do stay in the WSL because they can do a job for another team. But they're just not Renee's type of players, and this is going to be next season's going to be Renee's third season, and she hasn't really had her own squad yet.
No, And I think you look at the players that she's brought in, like Schmieder Holmberg and
Absolutely.
Borba, and then if you look at the players that potentially are coming in the summer, they're not bad signings. And Taylor Hines, I think Taylor Hines doesn't get spoke about enough for me. I think she's been very consistent.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, go.
I think the general consensus surrounding Taylor is that she's exceeded everybody's expectations. She's been very good for us.
Yeah, no, I've been very impressed. Quite a utility player as well.
Absolutely.
She can play across that whole back line, can't she, as well?
Absolutely. So. And this time last season, Olivia Smith was actually top of my wish list. And, I was excited when we got her. And I think, I'm pleased with her first season with us.
Who's top of your wish list now?
Linda Caicedo, I think. I think our most important need now, excluding the people that we know we're already getting, is probably going back to it, a left-sided centre back.
Yeah, I agree. We'll just see if because obviously we got Smith last year. If we get Caicedo this year, we know Anthony's onto something.
Absolutely.
Cool. But we'll move on from that game. Look forward to obviously last game of the season. Coming to you, Amanda. Obviously away at Anfield. All we need is a point, but obviously we want to end on a high. Because more importantly, we want to secure second place, automatic Champions League through the group stage, and make Chelsea play a few more games, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we should probably get the win at Anfield. I really hope we go out with a bang. Last chance to see, obviously, them players that are leaving again, and any other announcements which may or may not come in the meantime of other people that aren't extending. And then, like Anthony said, really just hope we get the players in that we're supposedly getting, and maybe a couple of other extras as well.
Yeah,
but it should be a good match. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, should be good.
Are you going?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to go up tomorrow.
Yeah, so am I, funny enough.
Oh, cool.
Just don't drive in front of me, because I need to be able to see where I'm driving. So Paul, obviously, are you expecting to see a similar team to yesterday? Because this is where I think it's different. Actually, I don't think we will, because of what I think. I think you might actually see probably Ford, and I think Beth might start, but I can imagine Smith maybe coming off the bench, which sounds a bit weird. But do you think they're going to just ultimately just play the ones who are leaving to give them minutes in case they need to be like in the shop window, or can you see them going back to obviously the Kim and Mario pivot?
I really wouldn't like to call it ahead of Saturday's game. I think the last few
That's the whole point of the podcast, Paul.
Yeah, I mean,
help me out.
What I've liked over the last few games is it's been unpredictable. So, we've had obviously Frida in the 10 yesterday. The other day it was Lessie in the 10 with Stina up front. We've had Holmberg at right back. We've had Holmberg on the right wing. Until that lineup's announced, you don't know what she's going to do. Whereas, you go back a year, you could pretty much predict week in, week out her starting lineup and exactly which subs were going to be made and at what point. But it does seem that something's changing now. And that is absolutely fantastic to see, that we're not relying on the same 11 players week in, week out. And it's also not knowing where some of them are going to be playing. Because, sometimes as soon as you see the team sheet, you're like, okay, that's the formation we're going with. But then you have got you go back to the Man City game, Smith playing in the number 9, completely out of surprise. Yeah. So, there's lots of different options for us moving forwards. And I think over the last few games, she's been trying these different scenarios and trying different things just to mix it up a bit, potentially with an eye on next season to keep the other teams guessing as well. Because if we can see it as fans, then the other team's scouts and people are going to be seeing it as well. Oh, this is what's going to happen. This is the lineup. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to defend against this, and so on. Yeah. And that's where we were going wrong. So yeah, and even the other night, Leah coming off the bench, and she seemed to be playing up as the number 9 at one point. It's completely different, but it did work yesterday for that.
Yeah. Ravi, obviously talking about the lineup and stuff. I noticed when Russo dropped into the 10 and Stina come on yesterday, they looked a lot more, I don't know, it just seemed a bit more fluid and more attack minded. Do you think that's more on having the options of Russo and Stina in the same lineup, or do you think that just automatically just depends who they're playing as well? And would you do the same on Saturday?
I personally think that the Russo and the 10, Stina up front is probably our best combo, attacking wise. I've been really impressed with it. Like, I think when we first started seeing it, and like we all kind of like looked at it and been like, oh, I don't think it really works. That you're taking Russo out of her best position and you're kind of just moving her back a little bit. But I do think it does work pretty well, especially like against a deeper defensive line, because where Stina always tries to run through that offside trap, which more often than not she is flagged. But the times when it does work, right, we are in. But like if you're preoccupied with Alessia Russo just on her own, you can kind of just put 2-3 players on her and she'd be like, look, she's not going to be able to link up any play. If you add Stina into the mix, you kind of push the defensive line back a few yards and give Russo that little bit of extra space, which I think she flourishes in completely. Yeah. I think her best performances this season have all come with Stina up front. And someone might correct me and say, oh, what about this game where she led the line? Yeah, fine, maybe, but I think she's more consistent and a little bit more clinical in that number 10 role than she is as the lone striker. So, and especially a lot of the time, it ends up being a front 2 more than it does a 9 and a 10. So, I think that's the way that we're going to be sort of lining up next season as well. So, I think we can expect to see more of it going into next season, and I think we'll probably end up seeing it at the weekend against Liverpool as well.
Yeah, we've got some breaking news. We were 40 minutes into the show, and Dorian has mentioned Frida. So Dorian, disappointed in that. You got to 54 minutes before, so I want better for next season, please. But as you can imagine, Dorian and Laura are talking about Frida in the chat, so we'll leave them to that educated conversation. Anthony, obviously, like we were just chatting about Russo and Stina. It's like Paul said, it's a luxury of having different options, isn't it? Like also Smith can even play in the 9, which we have seen, but all that is going to really lead to is having more options in those games that are tactically a bit closer than. So like with the game yesterday, it was really hard to break them down, wasn't it?
Yeah. The one thing that I think Rene's very good at is in-game management. Changing things around, and the fact that we do have those options. Going back to Stina and Alessia, it took some time for them to get used to each other, but that now that they've clicked, it's great because Stina's the things defenders hate having to run after players with pace. So they're concentrating on that as well. They're concentrating on that. So it gives Russo room. It gives Smith room as well. The other thing we haven't taken into account is that next season we may have the services of Michelle Adjiman as well. Yeah. So that gives us another option. I was listening to an interview by Freya Godfrey, and she was talking about different players. They were asking her things like, who's the best player in the world? She said, Mario Caldente. Who's the best young player? And she said Michelle. Then she said she was asked, what of all the players whose strength would you like to have? I mean, what's the greatest skill you'd like to have from another player? And she said Michelle's strength. Now that tells me that she has that. She probably has the strength of a Bunny Shaw with other elements that she brings to the table. So that means between Russo, Stina, and Michelle, we're going to have so many different tools to pull from for any given game state. So it's nice to see these options coming, being available.
Yeah, good point. Cool. Well, we'll go around and get your predictions just to end it on the season. I'm going to start with you, Paul. What's your predictions?
I think we'll go there. We'll get a decent job done. Liverpool play a very different way to Everton, so I think a solid 3-0 win tomorrow. Saturday, sorry.
Yeah, don't you start. Enough people in the group can't read what day the shows are. So, evening, Darren. Amanda.
I was going to say 3-0, but I will now say 4-0 just to say something different. But yeah, I think we'll win comfortably and everyone will go home happy back down the motorway.
Ravi.
I'll go 3-1. I think.
You just don't want a scarf, do you? So just
yeah, I think we'll show enough quality up top. I do think sometimes defensively this season we've looked a little bit shaky. I'd like a clean sheet, but I think they'll nick one.
Yeah, cool. Laura, the only reason you escaped here is because you're producing the show, so I know when my bread's buttered. Anthony, prediction?
I'm looking forward to the game because I've never been to Anfield before, so I'm looking forward to that. I think 2-0. I had thought worried that we might concede one, but I think between Smilla and Emily Fox, we should be able to look after their biggest threat, which I'd say is Kerry Holland.
Yeah.
So I think 2-0.
So we've got a 2-0, a 3-0, a 4-0, a 3-1. There's a 5-0 in the chat. What do I go for? Why not? 6-0. Let's go. Always got to love to batter the Scousers, especially at home. So yeah, I'm going 6-0 probably. Obviously, Katie McKay will score. I'm not saying that's a farewell goal, guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. But yeah, what we're doing before we finish, actually, I'm going to start with you, Ravi, because it was something we were talking about before. We got the figures for the average crowd for Arsenal this season.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't mind just talking about that a bit, because the record was really, really impressive, wasn't it? Like on an average point of view, I think it was even higher than quite a few like Premier League teams, wasn't it?
Yeah. So So I think we average over just 33,000 at home this season, which puts us in all teams. Like if you think every single team, male or female, in England, that puts the Arsenal women's first team at 13th place. which is it's only 12 Premier League teams ahead of us. Other than that, we're the 13th most supported club in the country, and I think it's great, especially if you look at yesterday in terms of the diabolical weather that was yesterday, where it was thunderstorms, hail, sunshine, rain, all at once at one point. 25,000 people still turn up to the stadium, and I think fair play to all the fans that turned up in the weather and support the team whatever the weather. Someone should write a song with that in there actually. And like it's I just think it's class, and we should be the template that every other women's team should use in terms of capturing hearts and minds of people everywhere. And I think we've been very fortunate over the last few years that where England have a lot of top talent that came from our teams, like the key players from the first time we won the Euros, Williamson, Mead, they were our players, and people associated themselves with us. I personally think it's going to be really interesting without Beth Mead at the club, because I think where people supported Arsenal by virtue of these players playing for us, do we feel that they'd follow the player more than they'd follow the club? I think by this point, after a few years having won in 2022, that fandom of supporting Arsenal because of Beth Mead has now turned into a full support of Arsenal Football Club for a lot of these fans. And I don't see it going like I don't see a contingent of these fans supporting like whoever she goes to next. I think with like a lot of these people found a home and a community with us. And I think it's a real testament in our average attendance this season where, we can have an average of 33,000 people at the stadium.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up that point with the Beth Mead kind of part of it. I'll be honest, I think there is some people that might just follow the player, but that's fine. You do you, like that's fine. But what I think also is a little bit clever as well is, one, we need her, and two, they've managed. I think I don't know what I'm saying. When we signed Georgia Stanway, that Lioness crowd is still, she's bringing in people. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of plugged a little bit of that gap. I'm not saying it'll be as much, but I think if you look at it, where other teams seem to go a little bit wrong, is with Arsenal. Look at the Lioness players that we've got: Leah Williamson, Chloe Kelly at the moment. Obviously Beth Mead's still there at this second as this show's going on. Then you've got people like Taylor. So Taylor Hines, and you've still got players around that Lioness which have been brought in from the success of the Euros. And only all that's bringing people like Stanway and Russo at the club is that all that's going to do is help.
Yeah.
But I do agree that I think it'd be interesting to see, because I did like, if you look at players like Beth Mead, Katie McCabe, just for two examples, there's a lot of fans or people that have got into football because of them, and they could follow them. But if that's what they do, that's what they do. Like, but I'm quite interested to see how it goes, and I just wonder how other clubs. So I think it's probably harder for teams like Man United to do that, because when you've got we won't get too much into a certain owner or what they've got. They're not, the women's team's not really at the forefront, unfortunately, is it? When it comes, and I think that's the disappointing thing. Where I think with Arsenal, we are spoke about alongside the same level as the men's team.
Yeah,
I know the finances are a lot different, so don't get me wrong, I get that, but I don't know. Could do you guys think there's another team that does that? I really don't think there is.
No, not in the
No.
women's game.
Like not even City.
No, and like I'm glad you brought up Stanway actually, because if you think about it, in the first time we won, England won the Euros, Georgia Stanway scored that goal against Spain in the quarterfinals in extra time. That I think is the most pivotal moment of that tournament for England. And Man City had her, and they could have put her front and center and said she plays for us. Because we did, like, we unashamedly did that with Williamson, Meads, so on and so forth. Like we basically just put them out on a pedestal and be like, hey, you know, all these players that you guys like fell in love with at the tournament, we have, you can see them every week. And like no other team did that. And it's bizarre to me because it's like free marketing.
That's why I think LCL wanted Beth Mead so much.
Yeah, and what LCL have been doing is like they have been doing that, and you know, like getting players like Yana Fernandez, who is like she's a popular player, like she sells a lot of shirts for LCL, and you know, it's just one of those things where it's just like, why didn't any of these other teams just see this opportunity coming their way? Like it's literally just like, it's like someone gave them a pot of money and they just said, "Now we're all right."
But just to spin that the other way, why have Chelsea not done that when they've got lionesses?
It's just maybe they just don't care enough.
No,
like
that's always the question I've had. Like we did, obviously we don't really care about Chelsea anyway. Sorry, Gav, but generally, like when you think they've got Hannah Hampton, Millie Bright, Lauren James, they're big enough names in the Lioness and Lucy Bronze, sorry. And like, so I've always wondered why Chelsea always seem to struggle with attendances and crowds. Probably apart from not winning the Champions League, like, but it can't just be that, surely, can it?
I mean, for
or
me,
is it? I don't know. It might be.
For me, I just don't think they put the effort into market it. I just don't think, like, you know, Arsenal has always been the forefront of women's football, whether we win trophies or not. And it's been a long time since we won a league trophy. And Chelsea could easily, over these 4 or 5 years that they were winning the league, and England were doing super successfully and pushing the women's game forward within the UK, they could have easily said, hey, the Millie Bright plays for us, Hannah Hampton plays for us, we're the current champions in the country, come and watch us. They didn't put the effort in, but Arsenal did. But Arsenal have always put effort into their women's team for decades now. And, you know, that groundwork that plenty of players have done before us, like we're looking back at Kelly Smith, Rachel Yankee, Alex Scott, they put so much groundwork in there to be able to push Arsenal women to where we are now. The other teams don't really have legacy legends. They just have their like modern legends that they've got within the sort of like sphere now. But like we've got people like Alex Scott presenting TV regularly, and it's just, you know, I just think we've just put more effort than everyone else.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've just seen it as well, and it kind of like just taking it away.
Has she left?
Yeah, McCabe is leaving apparently. Oh,
yeah, it's just come up on the Insta page.
That's well,
twat.
I appreciate them doing it just in time for the podcast, but
yeah, good thing I was rambling on for a couple of minutes extra, isn't it?
yeah, you're buying me time. We was going to finish on that bit, but we won't. We'll finish on this bit, get everyone's reaction. I'm not going to lie, I'm quite surprised. I don't think that looks good on the club personally, because like just a matter of hours after a home game, they must have known so she could have got a goodbye yesterday. But Anthony, I'll come to you about that. That's just my personal view on it. What's your views? Obviously, McCabe leaving in the summer. I wouldn't say anyone's happy, but did you
Well,
expect that?
well, no, not in the. If it was going to happen, I would have expected it to have happened in the last couple of in the last couple of weeks. I assume this also means Caitlin's going as well.
I don't think it does.
Right. Where is she going to Chelsea? Is she going to Man City? It's surprising. I thought we'd keep her for one more season, if not for her experience as well. She's still. I know she's lost her place within the leadership squad, or had appeared to have lost her place within the leadership group. But no, I must say I am surprised.
Yeah, so apparently she was offered a new deal and the negotiations on. That's why I couldn't announce it during the Everton game. I'm not buying that. Sorry, not for it to come out 24 hours later. They must have had an idea. That's just my opinion. I'm not actually involved in it. I only deal with the players that stay, like Stina.
Well, I hope that means we're getting someone like Sakina Kachawias or
I
someone
think
else.
they're like, obviously, Amanda, I'll come to you because I know that's probably a big loss for you. I am surprised just because obviously Kadena leaving. I thought maybe that's what they were going to do. I know we said we was going to do a rebuild, but I probably didn't expect it to be like this. What's your views on it? Obviously, generally.
Yeah, mate, gutted about that actually. I really liked her as a player. Liked her attitude, and obviously she's Irish, so that's okay by me. I'm surprised. I think I'm the same as you, George. I call bullshit on the fact that they couldn't have given her a goodbye yesterday, and I think that's a bit crap on the club. But I guess we don't know the ins and outs of it all. Now all of these players are actually said they're leaving. It feels a little bit scary. I really hope that they have got people's signatures in the background, and we're not just going to be limping into next season week. I really hope we do strengthen because we've lost.
Oh, I think
We've
have
lost
to
some
now.
serious people here. But yeah, I'm gutted.
I know, I get what you're saying, Catherine, but I'm not. But I'm sorry. I'm like, if that they saying they probably did know yesterday, but they weren't going to mention it on game day. Why? She's been there for how long? 10 years.
Yeah,
So
10 years.
she deserved to have that time to say goodbye and something properly. Because now she won't get that. She ain't gonna, what? Yeah, I can't imagine the PA system at Anfield saying, "Oh, excuse me, let me just pass that to Nigel." I mean, I just think that's poor, personally. Like, and you guys know I've not been the biggest Katie McCabe advocate. Generally, I think it's probably the right thing. Like, you do need to move on and rebuild. But I just think she deserved to have at least a goodbye thing. I don't know. Am I being irrational there? I don't know.
I'd like to think that it was still in negotiations up until today, up until this morning.
If they've known yesterday, then I think that's worse. If it's up to today, then I get it. But.
Like, I think the point, I think they would have made a point of it yesterday if they knew that she was leaving. I think they went into yesterday and the game and the whole thing with the mindset of, even if there's a 10% chance she signs that contract that's still on the table, we're not going to do anything, because like they probably did want to say there was that, from what I know, like contract negotiations were taking place. Like, I personally think if she's if she was leaving yesterday, like if they knew that she was leaving yesterday, I think they announced it yesterday. and like they do the whole thing with her and for her, because she, just like Beth Mead, is such a pivotal player for like, and has been for such a decade, for a decade, and it's like she deserves a big send off. Like, end of discussion. Like, she's captained the side before. She's, you know, she's won every single trophy for us. So yeah, I would like to think that up until this morning there were negotiations.
And that's where I'm at with it, mate. You know what I mean? If they knew yesterday, that's poor for me. That personally, I can't say it about other things, but not call that out. Personally, if they knew she weren't going to sign, I'm just wondering if they could have. I don't know. Could you have waited an extra day? I don't know. Like, it's just 24 hours after everyone's said goodbye to the players at home that are leaving, and that. I don't know. It just don't really sit that well with me. I don't know why. But I suppose she'll get a sort of a goodbye from the away end at Liverpool, but it's not the same, is it, Paul?
No.
Really?
No, it's not the same as a good crowd at the Emirates. But don't forget, she did have a few days off last weekend for personal reasons. So, you know, whether the contract negotiations were delayed because of that, you know, you just don't know what's gone on behind the scenes. I'd have loved to have given her a send off yesterday with all the others, but I'm sure we will do her proud on Saturday at Anfield.
Yeah,
and give her a good send off from the away end.
Yeah. Well,
does anyone have any thoughts on Caitlin Ford just before we go? Do you think she'll now go, or do you think she'll stay?
From what the talk is, I think well, I personally would have let her go because I think she offers nothing. But that's just me being honest. But I don't know now, to be honest, because I didn't think after all that. I didn't think McCabe was going to go. I'm surprised, to be fair, but I don't know. They might give Ford a 1-year deal because it looks like a lot of people are saying they don't want to let Beth and Ford go in the same window.
I think with Michelle potentially coming back next season, and we know that she coming back from an ACL takes a good year to get back into the player that you were at least. I'd give Ford a 1-year contract with the eye potentially for Michelle coming in, sort of blending into the squad during the second half of the season, with the look to replace her this time next year.
Or go and get Linda like Caicedo.
Yeah, if we bring Caicedo in, I can kind of settle with all these players going. But yeah, Ravi, what was we were saying about the average crowd and the players?
So
you might actually get your seats in block 10 now if you
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I think
you're staying where you are.
Yeah,
aren't you?
I'm staying where I am, but
yeah,
I think Katie's a big miss. I think she's had a real good account of herself in recent weeks, where she's covered at centre back. She's been solid every single time she gets on the pitch. So, you know, I think she'll be a big miss, and it's big shoes to fill within the squads as not only a player but as a personality as well. Clearly well loved amongst the players as well. So, yeah, I think it's a big loss.
Yeah, so it's just clear. I'm not more surprised than that she's leaving. Like, because before all this, I probably would just. I think we said on here, didn't we? If we could bring in a top replacement, then we wasn't like dead against her leaving. But I think the whole way it's gone is more surprised me. Like, but yeah, watch this Netflix series continue. Like, so that's not. So I don't know who's next. It might be Ford. I don't know. I'm trying to say who else it could be. Don't know yet.
There isn't anyone left, is there? They're going to have to turn the lights out before they leave.
No. But I think the way we look at it, though, if you look at the players that are left or going to be leaving, and the players that were rumoured to be bringing in, like Reuteler, Stanway, Bagier, Churchy, would you say most of them are probably an improvement on who are leaving?
I would.
I think so. So I think
Yeah.
that's the bigger picture. I think the McCabe one is a loss because how versatile she's been this season. But yeah, but before we're here till like 10 o'clock, so we've gone over the hour now. So thanks to Arsenal. Well, cheers to that. We'll wrap it up there. Just want to say thank you to all the people in the chat. It's been a good one. Been an entertaining show, but so I just want to say thank you to my guest Anthony. Thank you, mate. See, look, we saved the best till you got on, mate. That's what it was.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Too kind.
don't thank me. Thank the Arsenal admin team. But yeah, no, always great to have you on. Amanda, great to have you on as well. Don't be too upset.
Oh, I'll get over it. It's all right. I think
Awesome.
we're getting in some quality players, aren't we? It's just it's a bit of a surprise because I thought we'd swerved it, but never mind. That's football. Hopefully, I'll see you at the weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. And Paul, thank you as well. Brilliant as always. Yeah. Are you there Saturday?
Yeah, I'll be there. Traveling up and back.
You've
Yeah,
got the whole gang.
yeah, everyone's coming.
Paul's done 2 games in a week, guys. This is good stuff.
And a Saturday game, which is the one
Yeah,
that
exactly.
I really do
Like,
struggle with. So yeah, looking forward to it.
we've got the rebuild. Paul's doing Saturday games. What can go wrong? Right. And then Ravi, thank you as always. Always intelligent chat when you come on. People in the chat always say, "Oh, we like it when Ravi's on because he knows what he's on about." So I don't know what that means for the rest of us.
Nah, I mean, I always have fun coming on here, and it's good to chat with you guys.
Yeah, cool. Are you there Saturday?
Unfortunately, not now. I can't make it.
Oh God, it's always one. But never mind. But yeah, obviously, like we always say, please hit the subscribe button. It means everything. Obviously, subscribe to the channels that you see on here. And yeah, we will have a watch along on Saturday I think Ryan will probably doing that. Ryan and friends, that's what I'm calling it, because I don't know who's going on there. And then we will be back next week when we review the Liverpool game. But then we will also in a couple of weeks have a end of season review. And then we'll have some Arsenal stuff and non-Arsenal stuff throughout the summer. So once again, all thank you. Have a good one, and come on, you Gunners.
Good.